Welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will get an update from Robert Pearson, director of the Norfolk County RSVP program. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, we've got increasing clouds out there. It's a muggy 80 degrees. Look out for some more pop-up thunder showers moving in this afternoon and this evening as well. A very unsettled weather pattern that we're in, and it's going to stay that way too. Again, highs today in the muggy low 80s. It'll still be unsettled this evening, very uncomfortable with a low of 71 degrees. And the weekend is not looking great. Tomorrow we'll have some storms around in the morning, maybe some breaks of sun in the afternoon, rather warm and humid, with highs tomorrow into the mid-80s. Strong storms, the potential for some heavy downpours around on Sunday. Most of the day is unsettled on Sunday, with highs in the lower 80s. And less of a chance for a storm on Monday, still rather hazy and very warm, and a high Monday approaching 90 degrees. Again, we have 80 degrees with clouds in Quincy right now. Checking news for you today, the ballot for this year's Quincy city election has been set. 20 of the 25 residents who had taken out nomination papers to run for office this year did return them by the Tuesday 5 p.m. deadline. Mayor Thomas Koch will face a challenge from Councilor at Large Ann Mahoney. Ward 2 Councilor Anthony Andronico is being challenged by Richard Ashe. Matthew Lyons is challenging Ward 4 Councilor James Devine. And Ward 6 Councilor William Harris facing a challenge from Deborah Riley. Retired Quincy Police Lieutenant Dan Minton was the only candidate to qualify to run for the Ward 5 City Council seat that's being vacated by Chuck Phelan. Scott Campbell and incumbents Nina Liang and Noel DeBona will seek the 3 at-large council seats. Now, incumbent school committee members Paul Brigoli, Kathy Hubley, and Frank Santoro will be challenged by Courtney Perdios, Liberty Schaff, and Vincent Tran. There will be no preliminary election in Quincy this year. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch floating the idea of having the city take control of Wollaston Beach. The mayor says he feels the city is better equipped to manage the beach that the State Department of Conservation and Recreation can do right now.
I don't believe that they have the resources to maintain them and improve them to the level I think they deserve. We do have some other funding sources in Quincy, including the hotel tax and community preservation monies that could be used towards an effort if we were doing that. We've got 2 very good structured departments that could pull this off, one being the Department of Natural Resources, the other being the Department of Public Works. And I think working together, we would do a much better job in maintaining it. And I did say at the time to Governor Baker, I have not discussed this with Governor Haley yet, but I did say to him at the time, tell me if I'm wrong, but dollars going forward, again, this is a couple of years ago, will be dedicated to education and healthcare. And he said, yeah, you're right on target. So even during these times of some big ARPA infusion monies, we haven't seen any major investment in DCR properties. And if we're not, we haven't done that over the last few years. I don't know where the money's going to come from the state. So, when people go there, visit the city, go there, they don't view it as, oh, that's DCR control. It's in Quincy. It's a reflection on Quincy. And I do think we could do a better job with it.
Koch admits that additional personnel would be needed to maintain the beach and says there's no estimate as to the cost of such a program. The move would require approval from the state legislature and the governor. State Representative Tacky Chan of Quincy says that a better plan may be for the state to hire the city of Quincy as a contractor to maintain Wollaston Beach. A Quincy man who was arrested while driving a car that was stolen in a housebreak is also a suspect in that housebreak. 45-year-old Paul Bradley was arrested in West Quincy this past Monday while driving a Mercedes that had been stolen during a break into a house on Milton Road in North Quincy on the 4th of July. Bradley was stopped at Furnace Brook Parkway and Copeland Street, charged with receiving a stolen motor vehicle, but police say items found on Bradley may connect him to the Milton Road housebreak. They are continuing to investigate. A man who was wanted for having an illegal gun was subdued with a taser in Quincy Point on Monday. 20-year-old Tremari Sherry Emile was spotted outside of his Broadway home. Officers say they were forced to use a taser to subdue Emile when he resisted arrest and assaulted police officers. A loaded handgun was found on Emile during that struggle. He faces charges including the illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition, assaulting police officers, and resisting arrest. There were no serious injuries. Well, a victory celebration will be held tomorrow for the New England Free Jacks Major League Rugby team after winning their first championship in franchise history last Saturday. The city will hold a rally at 11 a.m. at the Free Jacks home field, Veterans Memorial Stadium. Mayor Thomas Koch says the team will participate in a procession along the same route as the Flag Day parade leading to the stadium, and that there may be some special features just outside the stadium prior to the ceremony. Officials from the team and the city will speak during the celebration. There will be no road closures. However, there may be some delays during the procession. The city says the event will be held rain or shine. Now, we here at Quincy Access Television are celebrating a bit of a victory of our own. QATV recently won the Best Experimental Access Center Professional Award from the Alliance for Community Media Foundation's Hometown Media Awards competition that was held in Brooklyn, New York. QATV's Government Access Coordinator Mark Crosby and Norfolk County Register of Deeds Bill O'Donnell collaborated to produce History Comes Alive, Norwood Town Hall, a short video about the history of Norwood Town Hall. Now, the video is part of the registry's History Comes Alive Land Record Project, which is aimed at educating the public about the land history in Norfolk County. Crosby said he was inspired to produce the piece after having an emotional response to a 1996 film called The Stendhal Syndrome by Italian movie director Dario Argento. Congratulations to them both. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, Norfolk County RSVP Program Director Robert Pearson will join us for an update. That's next. Welcome back. We're always so pleased to welcome to the program Robert Pearson, the director of the Norfolk County RSVP program, for an update, because there's always so much great news to share with the community and so many great opportunities for folks to participate in the volunteer programs that they have. So, Robert, welcome again. Good to see you.
Thank you, Joe. I'm so happy to be back, and I really am expecting next time we're on, I'll be with you in person.
I do hope so. We're getting a little bit of a complex here. It's the second time we've had you on a remote virtual interview, but it's great to have you nonetheless.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joe. I have a number of good updates for your Quincy residents.
Yeah, but we always like to begin with just, I guess, a quick overview of what RSVP is.
Absolutely. RSVP stands for Retired Senior Volunteer Program. It is one of 3 national service programs that are facilitated by AmeriCorps seniors out of Washington, D.C. So Norfolk County RSVP covers all of the Norfolk County cities and towns with about 15 different types of volunteer opportunities, very flexible, short shift commitments, 2 to 4 hours a week. Everything from English as a second language tutoring, elementary school tutoring, food pantry support, Meals on Wheels driving, veteran support, and friendly visiting. So we also have new and exciting opportunities as well. We enjoy, as a volunteer service program, also putting together recognition events and award ceremonies, and I'll be talking about that as well.
Any special opportunities, Robert, over the summertime that the RSVP program is involved with in terms of, I don't know, kids' activities or senior activities specifically related to summertime?
Well, it's interesting. As you share that, I'm aware of elementary school volunteers that are in need of more things to do because school is out over the summer. We have ongoing opportunities. It's not that we have something that's short term over the summer. As it happens, we do have some opportunities that are starting over the summer, but they're not especially for the summer.
Okay. I know probably the biggest program that you run is the Rides for Veterans program. Is that right?
It is our flagship program, Joe, out of programs with about 35 partner sites where we recruit volunteers. It's the only program that we run soup to nuts with in-house dispatching. We've been able to really build it back up from pre-COVID days to have about 40, 45 volunteers, giving 80 to 90 rides per month to veterans. Uh, it is a remarkable program, both as I witness the connections that are being made between the volunteers and the veterans, and many of them, it's about far more than transportation, because there are a lot of isolated veterans who have some friendship here. So there's communication. Sometimes people going out for lunch or coffee afterwards. It's not required, but people enjoy, in many cases, building those connections. Quincy is an area, and the South Shore is an area where a lot of rides emanate from. So we are always looking for more drivers who, in a flexible schedule, can just volunteer, maybe even to do 2 rides a month minimum. We have a very intuitive, easy to use software program where a driver would just maybe ideally we ask for them to check once a week and they could see all the details of a given ride. Most of them will be round trips. Oftentimes they're to the Brockton VA or to the Jamaica Plain or West Roxbury VA. We also supply mileage reimbursement for the drivers who want that. We encourage it so that drivers will go longer distance rides because we have rides again all over the county. In the western part of the county, we don't have as many drivers, so we're looking to recruit more. But the mileage reimbursement is generous, and some volunteers are bringing home $120 a month from mileage reimbursement. So it's really want to encourage people's involvement.
Robert, if a veteran has a specific physical need, if they're on crutches or in a wheelchair, how do you deal with that in terms of actually transportation?
It's a great question, Joe. We are obviously relying on volunteers using their own vehicles. We are as flexible as we can. So if somebody is pretty ambulatory, where they are using a folding wheelchair, oxygen, a walker, we're able to transport them. We just will be particular about, the drivers having the proper vehicles to be able to assist. And a veteran client, can bring an aide or a family member to assist if need be. Again, these are volunteers, not health professionals, but we are not able to bring individuals that require a wheelchair lift. Uh, the Disabled American Vets, DAV, does have facilities and vans for that.
Okay, yeah, I just thought we should point that out, just because I'm sure that's become an issue. Are you seeing, though, younger vets, Robert, maybe vets from the Gulf Wars, taking part in some of your programs?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Most of the veterans using our service are older from Vietnam. I think there's still a World War II veteran
Wow. Yeah.
uh, using the service. I'm sure there is. But certainly there are Gulf War veterans. These are disabled vets in many cases. Transportation is a tough deal for all disabled individuals and older adults as well. There are no programs such as ours in other counties uh, that I am aware of. Certainly not in Massachusetts. Our demand is high, and we because of that, we need at least a 1 week's notice
Okay.
for people to give us uh, in order to list their ride. And we could take no more than one request per week.
Wow. Okay. Is there any kind of special training for the volunteer drivers that's required beforehand?
We train the driver on using our software, on the protocols for how to support and work with a veteran. It's a very detailed system for us to coordinate all these rides. And while veterans at times may like to connect with the driver directly and say, hey, can you take me to an appointment next week? The driver is instructed to tell the veteran, I may or may not be able to, but you have to contact the office directly,
Okay.
and then they could follow up. So we give instruction to the drivers in terms of standard protocol, as well as activities that they can help with and things that are out of their purview, that they can't lift somebody up, for instance. So it somehow has worked for 9 years with all of these parameters and limitations. Again, we have these flexibilities in place for aides or family members to come. Also, if appointments are 2 hours or longer, then we'll call that a split trip, and
Oh,
we'll
okay.
find two separate drivers so that no driver is really needing to hang around unless they are available. Then they could sign up for both ends of the split trip.
Sure. Sure. Great opportunity for both, really, for the volunteer and for the veteran too. I'm assuming a lot of their volunteers are also veterans giving back, right?
They are.
Yeah.
They are. It's really both.
Yep.
There are veterans and non-veterans. So I really want the folks who are listening to know that if you are a veteran or if you know of veterans, please pass on my phone number. I believe that's on the screen, Joe, or my email address to contact me to make arrangements for rides. We are able to help out also where they're not just one-off appointments. If somebody needs dialysis or radiation, we can't do all the trips because of our limitations, but for instance, we're able to work with the family to maybe have a driver 2 mornings a week, and then have the family do the pickups in the afternoon.
Okay.
So we will work to do whatever is possible. And again, anybody listening that wants to take part and help in this program, it's very rewarding. Again, there's mileage reimbursement, uh, and then there are other benefits. I want to just take a second, Joe, to mention that in May we had, for the first time since COVID, a veteran pinning ceremony, which really meant acknowledging primarily the veteran volunteers, also the veterans we serve, both veterans who are supporting veterans, non-veterans supporting veterans, and within the RSVP program, veterans who are working in other programs that aren't just involved with the vet rides.
Very good. A good source of camaraderie, I'm sure, for those
Yeah,
folks. Yeah.
yeah.
Robert, all the years we've been speaking, I never heard of the Public Guardian Service Volunteers. What is that?
Yes. Well, periodically we bring on new partner sites, and Public Guardian Services is in neighboring Braintree, though there very well are opportunities to support individuals who are primarily elderly, in some cases might be younger, that have no family resources and have really been assigned through the state to have public guardian service lawyers work with them and their estate needs. They typically live in nursing homes in the area, and there are two types of volunteer opportunities that we are very much hoping to fill. We have found a couple volunteers so far. Uh, the basic administrative volunteer would be working in the office, doing administrative work in the Braintree office, minimum once a week for 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, answering phones, doing data entry, doing fax work. But it's very diverse, working with the lawyers and dealing with client confidentiality as well. So there really is a need for that. Probably the more ambitious volunteer opportunity are friendly visitor volunteers to go once a week or once every 2 weeks into the nursing home and establish a relationship with the particular individual, possibly do some shopping for them. Not that you would bring them out in most cases, but you would get a list, do some shopping for them, but otherwise, visit with them, keep them company, get to know them. So it is, I'd say, more meaningful, but probably a little more demanding. It will require, in some cases, where some people may have lower functionality. They may not just be, some will be friendly and functional. Some others may just be withdrawn and enjoy somebody talking to them and speaking with them. So those are the two opportunities that are brand new that we are promoting, and I hope your listeners will consider it or pass on word for those opportunities. We have these kind of off opportunities, that come up, which is similar to one I think I've mentioned on your show before, for New Life Furniture,
Yes.
which is fairly local. I believe they're in. I think they're in Randolph, but I'm not sure. But this is where people are going into the facility, helping paint or ready furniture for low-income veterans and other individuals, to bring these furnishing for their homes.
Better than putting it in the landfill for sure.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah,
good stuff. Good
only a few
furniture.
minutes left, Robert, but I want you to talk about a luncheon coming up in early August.
Thank you. Thank you, Joey. Yes, every year, especially now with COVID receding, we are returning to one of our more ambitious and enjoyable situations, which is organizing an annual volunteer recognition luncheon. This is to honor all the volunteers that we have in RSVP who've been active in the past year. We currently have a total of 180 volunteers active in RSVP. We want to build that number up further back to pre-COVID 285 volunteers. But with this luncheon, we have 120 people signed up to come, and this will be held at the Endicott Estate in Dedham. Folks from the Quincy Senior Center are going to be coming with Marie Ferrant, the COA director. People from all the programs throughout the county are going to be coming. In Marie's case, they're going to take folks in a van and bring them over to the luncheon. We have raffles, prizes, and part of national service is where people have, through the years, obtained milestones of 100, 250, and 500 hours of service. They will receive certificates of appreciation from President Biden, as well as bronze, silver, or gold pins. So we look forward to this event. We have great gifts. The Norfolk County Commissioners, I do want to say, I don't want to be remiss to say that the county is run by the Norfolk County Commissioners, and they are very supportive. of RSVP, and we'll look forward to having them at the luncheon as well.
And again, that's August 3rd at Endicott Estate in Dedham. Do folks need to sign up, Robert?
Yes, they have signed up, and if you are a current RSVP volunteer, you have about 4 more days.
Okay, very good.
Sign up.
Got you in there just in time. Thank you so much, Robert. Always great to get an update from you. Really appreciate it.
A pleasure, Joe. Thanks a lot. And everybody, please consider joining RSVP if you have the time and are age 55 or older. Thank you.
All right. Next time we'll have you here in studio, too. We look forward to that.
Thank you.
Meantime, we have to check the forecast for you, unfortunately, for the rest of the day today. We've got some rain and thunderstorms moving in for this afternoon. A very warm, muggy day with highs in the low 80s this afternoon. Pretty unsettled tonight, too, with some storms. And really, that's the story right through at least Sunday. Less of a chance for stormy weather on Monday, but staying pretty hazy and muggy with temperatures in the low to mid 80s for the next 3 days. Thanks again to Robert Pearson for joining us today from the Norfolk County RSVP program. Thank you to our crew, and thank you for watching. Monday here in the program, we will feature the artist that's on display at the Quincy Art Association's Q Arts Gallery. Meantime, please visit our website, qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great weekend.